Hi there everyone, Cody here. So I've been doing a little bit of gardening. As you can see, I've got some potatoes growing here and also in these planters. And I'm actually thinking of ripping out these big bushes and actually planting a garden there, and possibly even going as far as taking out the entire lawn, putting up some like posts and some sprinklers, and just making a huge garden out here and produce enough food for me to possibly eat nothing but what I grow for an entire month. I think that'd be awesome. Anyway, over here I've got some potatoes that I've planted recently. There's some watermelons that are coming up. The idea here is that they'll just kind of take over this entire area, you know, along with the roses here. Over here I've got some more watermelons. As you can see, I think there's some cucumbers which I'm going to have grow up across this. I think I've got some kale in there, some soybeans. Maybe I'll put some sunflowers over there in the corner. So yeah, let's go look at the backyard. As you can see, I've got some troughs hooked up to the downspout there. On this side I'm growing corn. I don't know if you can see that some of them are already coming up. They're there. On this side I've got some sunflowers and maybe some beans and stuff. And coming down here, I've got peppers, cucumbers right there, tomato, some more potatoes. And over here we don't get a whole lot of sun, so I'm actually just growing some leafy vegetables like lettuce and kale. And way down at the end where the water looks like it's just getting to, it gets quite a bit more sunlight right in this spot, so I've got a zucchini squash growing. The idea is that I'd set it up so that the water would fill these troughs every few days to irrigate the crops. Perhaps I'll set it up on a timer to, you know, run the water for 15 minutes every few days, something like that. Lawns are just a waste of valuable growing space. The soil here is just so good. We've got sprinkler systems set up so that we've got basically an unlimited supply of water. You know, we're hooked up to the mains here. It just blows my mind that people grow so much of this ugly green stuff that you can't eat. I mean, I consider this a weed, but people like to grow it all over. I think I'm going to talk to the landlord and see if they'll let me do a little bit more than what I've done. But in the meantime, let's go look at these potato pots, because I think they're about ready. See how they're turning yellow? Alright, so I'm just going to pull these plants out. Maybe I'll be able to save the plants like they did in the Martian and replant them, but I don't have very high hopes for it. Usually when you pull them up it kills them. But this is growing some really weird growths on the side of this plant. It almost looks like a potato, but it was up above the ground surface. Oh, we'll save that for later. But let's go ahead and reach into here and see how many potatoes we can get. If I can pull the plant up without killing it. It is buried down in there pretty deep. There we go. Yeah, it's got some potatoes. That's cool. Set this aside. Let's keep digging. They're little potatoes, but I'll eat that. Maybe even use it as a seed. There we go. Yeah, there's some sand in there. Use them to drain it. These potatoes are a Yukon Gold variety, so they're one of my favorites. So there's the pots that I went through and the dirt that I took out of them. I decided not to do all of the pots because the potatoes are still looking pretty good. I decided to put the best looking potato plants in the ground over here, and I'm going to water them real good, see if they'll take off, but you know, if they die, so what? I've got some other potatoes actually in the soil here that are about to sprout up anyway. All the potatoes I took out of those pots. Here's the Yukon Gold. I planted mostly these. There was one red potato and a few purple potatoes also. There we go. It's kind of disappointing how little there is, but it's a start. So the skin of the potato is super fragile before it's had a chance to dry out. And these three of them here, I accidentally ripped the skin off while I was scrubbing off the dirt. So you know what? I'm actually going to eat these right now. So here we are, the cooked potato that I've grown myself. Not bad. It's like a little bit chewier than the ones you get in the store. I also cooked a purple potato, as you can see here. Just break this open. See how colorful it is on the inside. Despite being blue, It really doesn't taste any different than a potato. That is what it is. So I took the rest of the potatoes here and I put them on the scale to see how much I've got. And I've got 1,700 grams, or less than 2 kilograms here, which means I have, what is that, 1,500 calories? That's not even an entire day's worth of food for me. That's kind of sad. It took 4 buckets and 40 days to grow this much potato. Certainly more than I planted, that's for sure, but man, that would mean I'd need like 1,000 of those buckets to produce enough food to actually live off of. I should have up now what I did in the greenhouse a few years ago, and I plan to do something similar again this year, except maybe a bit more elaborate. So you may have noticed I've been wearing this blue shirt quite often lately. This is the one that I dyed using the fermented urine and the dyer's woad. And in fact, Canyon and I went and got some more of the dyer's woad. We made the woad blue here. Apparently this stuff is quite expensive, like $40 an ounce on Amazon, which is more than silver actually. But I do have some and I'm thinking of doing some more projects with it. I ordered some of the chemical that you use to fix the dye onto the fabric, the thiourea dioxide, and I'm having a lot of trouble shipping it into the country. Apparently it causes cancer or something, so I may have to actually make it myself or continue using the fermented urine. Now I'm going to just insert some clips of videos and should give you updates on some other random projects I have around, including the mine, so stick with me to the end. Here's where I've been working for the last little while, and you can see my penny-based cooling pad for my laptop. It actually works pretty well. There's that silver play button that I made. As you can see, I still haven't moved the little gold piece over, and in fact I've measured it and it is actually centered. It's just an optical illusion. I glued it up better so it won't fall off now. I think a lot of you are looking forward to seeing an update on these partridges I've got. See, I got about 11 of them in there, and one of them's albino, as you can see. Let's see if we can get him out of there so you can look at him. They're right about 2.5 weeks old now. They grow incredibly fast. And they're a very skittish bird, as you can see. Almost like reaching into a popcorn cooker sometimes. Here, little guy, come here. Ah, gotcha. There you go. See the red eyes of the albinonism? Oh yeah, it looks really bad in the camera. These are some of my favorite birds. They lay eggs about like a bantam chicken, but they don't make very much noise at all. They do make a chuckering noise, but that's certainly better than crowing. I've got some adult ones on the ranch. I'll put in a few pictures of them. They're a rather pretty bird. Canyon ended up naming the white one Trooper because he's had a really hard life. The other birds just keep pecking on him because he's so different. Another update that I have is that Mars One has finally made public details about the rounds 3 and 4 of the Astronaut Selection Program, of which I am a finalist. If you want to learn more about this, I'm going to be putting Mars One's press release on the screen and in the description as well. Now before you guys go run down to the comments saying, oh, Mars One's a scam, why are you believing this, I'm unsubscribing. Mars One's not a scam, it's just a company with big ideas that could actually work. Sending people to Mars is going to be about like putting on the Olympics. About the same amount of costs, and will probably bring in the same amount of revenue, so it could work. Just nobody's put up the dough to actually get it started yet. But Mars One, despite having very little funding, is still trudging along and still selecting candidates and doing a fairly good job, I think. If you'd like to keep getting updates on Mars One, my friend Ryan McDonald has a YouTube site which he posts monthly updates about Mars One. I'll put a link here and in the description for you guys to go check him out. These guys look fairly active. Also, something I keep forgetting is see this little tree over there in the grass? That's the tree that I planted with the deep pots thing. And it's still alive. In fact, every time I'm coming over here, I bring a little bit of water for it. Hopefully we'll have a nice elm tree growing here someday. Here we are in the top bar hive. Looks like they're doing pretty good. All of the combs are straight. I can see some brood and some honey storage coming along. Let's actually have a look at this. Looks like that. Yeah, that's straight. Alright, I'm not even going to bother opening these guys. So I think they're doing fine. I'm up here in the rock slides where the choke cherries are growing. I'm going to look at those cherry trees that I planted last year. See if they're still alive. Well, they're alive. See right here? It's got leaves. Excellent. Yeah, all the way up to the top. It's even got a cherry on there. It's awesome. Gonna have a couple of cherry trees growing. And it looks like it's gonna be a good year for choke cherries. Every now and then I see one of my honeybees. They're pollinating the crap out of them. Of course, with all the birds, I'll probably lose most of them just from the birds eating them. Maybe if I brought some like silk bags up here and put them over these little bunches, I'd be able to get some cherries. Here's that gray tin sample that I left out. Looks like it finally converted back to white tin. It's a baby rabbit here. I don't actually have a girlfriend anymore. I have a fiance. Remember that ring that we made back in my rocked ring video? There it is. Okay, coming back. I can see there's a fine dust covering everything. Like you can see this tube here. There's dust on it. But it looks like everything's settled. I mean, it's had quite a while to do it. And this here, that's really weird. This plastic cover is like shredded. The blast waves must have really hit that hard. Looking up into here. Oh yeah, look at this. That moved a lot more material than I thought it would actually. It looks like, yeah, some up there fell down. So basically the shock must have knocked a big chunk of material loose, and it's sitting right here. Looks like at least 3 of the explosions actually happened properly. Looks like these 2 down here didn't go the full yield. Looks like it just exploded at the entrance. As you can see, just shredded the plastic, but it's not actually exploded back into the rock like it is up here, see? That's actually kind of disappointing because now when these went off there was nowhere for the material to go, so it didn't actually do what I wanted it to. This one up here knocked a lot down. Yeah, I think this worked. It was a fun little exercise. Still don't know what that hard thing is in there. I'll have to get a pickaxe and dig down to it. Yeah, make sure nothing else is going to fall down on me. It's a big chunk of material that fell out of there. You definitely want to have a hard hat on if that came down on top of you. Looks like this chunk of rock right here is going to fall down as well. See that cracks around it? It only makes the hole bigger, doesn't it? Now, since this is sort of a subscriber special, I would like to ask a couple of questions to get some feedback on my channel to how I can improve my videos. You see, I've been doing a thing where I've been making the intro to the video with a clip that actually relates to the video. Do you guys like that? Should I just keep the same intro for like 6 months before changing it, instead of changing it up every time? What do you guys think? Also, the outro, I've been using most recently clips, like a time lapse from something that happened inside the video. Other times I've used clips from videos that are coming up, or just whatever interesting video I've got in my computer at the time. Let me know what you guys think about that down in the comments. I'll probably be reading most, if not all of the comments, depending on how many there are, of course. Anyway, that's all I've got for now. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next time.